Good morning, you guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Shelby with the Gift Gala Shop. My goal is to spread as much happiness into the world through my non-toxic soy candles and custom labeling, and I'm so glad you guys are here with me today. It is 7:30 in the morning on Friday, though the week is winding down. I'm pumped up this morning because I've got a beautiful wholesale order I need to get labeled and delivered for one of my very favorite wholesale customers. Everything Texas Mercantile is here in Stephenville, Texas, and it's so cute. Everything that they sell is Texas made. There's so many cute gifts like skincare and headbands and luggage and some gift gala candles. So I'm going to take you guys along with me when we deliver those so you can see just how cute this little boutique is, and maybe you can pay them a visit sometime. Because we are in Stephenville, which is the rodeo capital of the world, of course, my heritage collection does really well for them, and I'm so excited because all of my friends and people that I know in Stephenville can physically sniff and smell and test out some of these scents without coming here to the studio. I'm not really set up for like a showroom situation, and I know there's a lot of people that do want to come to the studio and sniff the smells, but this is really just the manufacturing place. I'm just the sweatshop in here. I'm just kidding. But it's really not conducive for people to just come and smell, because if they smell them right out of the bottle, that doesn't really accurately tell them how the candle is going to smell, because candles have different hot throws and cold throws, and the way the fragrance smells in the wax is different. So that's why I really don't let people come in and smell the fragrances. So yeah, if you are local to Stephenville and I don't know you personally and you are wanting to go try some gift gala candles, head over to the Everything Texas Mercantile. Like I said, they do have a lot of my heritage collection, and then I do a special custom jar and label combination for the rest of their candles, which when we get into labeling them, I'll show you just how cute they are. Their theme is more rustic, and so my square mason jars work perfect. And then they have a gold lid with a really cute rustic label on top. And so that's worked really well for them. And we've had so much fun kind of developing their label and getting their own unique look that they can have in their shop. I stayed up super late last night pouring candles because, as I told you guys at the end of my other video, I was a little, not necessarily behind, but my schedule has been kind of thrown off from being gone. And then when I looked into the wax pot and saw I needed more wax, I needed to wait for it to arrive. And it did, and then I had some other business things that I had to do, and so it ended up being a really late evening last night pouring candles. I think I stayed up till like 11:30, which was fine because it had cooled off here in the studio, and I feel like I'm probably still gonna have to zoom some of the tops just because it's just been raining every day and it is so humid. Like right now, it's foggy outside and it's 65 degrees right now, which is so great for candle making in terms of the temperature, but the humidity is killing me. So hopefully we won't have to zoom too many of the top. And if you're new here or you're new to candle making, the weather affects how the wax binds with the fragrance, how it sets, especially if you're working with soy wax. I have not worked with beeswax before, or coconut wax, so I can't speak for those two waxes, but I'm a soy wax girly, so I can tell you it does affect how soy wax behaves. And so sometimes you have to zoom the tops. It's just how it is, no matter how hard I try to pour them cool enough so that they have perfect tops. Sometimes it doesn't work out that way, and that's what heat gun's for. So don't feel bad if your tops aren't perfect when you pour them. I know that's our goal every single time, to pour these candles with these beautiful glassy tops. But life happens and we roll on with it. I think we're gonna just jump right into finishing all these candles, getting them labeled, getting them boxed up. We've got, oh, I forgot. I do have 2 sets of favorite orders I need to pour. Yikes. Okay, so we're still gonna label all these first because I talked to Melody with Everything Texas Mercantile and I told her I would be delivering these like in the morning. So I want to get the candles finished that I have poured, and then we can jump into the favors because they don't need to ship till the 1st of next week. So we might just pour them today and get them shipped on Monday. So are you guys ready? Let's go. So they looked pretty darn good. I'm not gonna lie, I poured some of these pretty hot. For my soy wax, I like to get the temperature down to 105, 110 degrees and pour at that temperature, because for me, that just really helps with sinkholes and frosting, and 105 to 110 just seems to be the sweet spot for my particular pouring process and with my fragrances. But these candles I poured last night, man, I want to say they were probably close to 130, 120, 130. I used to use a heat gun when I first started candle making, and now I just eyeball it, and you can see when the wax kind of starts to turn a milky color, it's time to pour. And so I'm really surprised with how good these tops are. That just shows you how important the temperature in the room is. In some of my videos on Instagram, I talk about keeping my shop at 70 degrees. And that's really hard in the summer here because I have so many windows in my studio and I have to run 2 AC units and get a fan going in here. And sometimes I just can't keep it at that temperature. But a lot of times when I have issues with the tops of my candles, it's not due to the pouring temperature, it's actually due to the temperature in the room while they set. And so, like, for example, these were poured at 130 degrees, but it was cool last night. It was 60 degrees, and so it cooled off in my shop, and I didn't have very many to zoom the top on, and none of them were super frosted. There was just a few little sinkholes and a couple of them, but they looked really good. So that's the thing about candle making. So many people think that you just pour a few things together and then pour it in a glass, which essentially is what we like it to be once we've been candle making for a while. You want it to be a recipe, you want it to be simple, but a lot of things go into perfecting your recipe and perfecting a candle to end up with a flawless handmade candle. So Denim is waking up. I'm probably gonna go grab him. We're gonna have some breakfast, and then I'm gonna get back out here and get these labeled. I'm probably going to work on labels on my computer while I'm eating. I like to multitask and I need to do a little bit of admin work. So we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna jump right into getting these labeled and getting them boxed up. I know you guys love the videos of packaging, so I'm gonna try to package as many of these as I can on camera today. And then, like I said, get the wholesale order delivered in town. So we'll see you guys in a little bit. Also, FYI, when I said that it was cool outside and foggy, look at this. I know for a lot of you this is probably gross weather, but I love this kind of weather. Again, it's giving me all the fall vibes, even though we are almost into June and we're almost into the heat of the summer when it's going to be miserable here in Texas. I'm just out here living my fall dreams. Here's the garden. It's kind of foggy. So I'm going to soak this up and we can be excited about it being sunny and 90 degrees tomorrow. Okay, so I kind of have like a little flow when it comes to packaging orders and really just the whole candle making process in general. I try super hard to pour in bulk, meaning that I will pour multiple orders at one time, design all the labels or get all the labels printed off at one time, package them all at one time. That way I don't have a bunch of little stragglers, which is why I have a 3 to 5 day processing time. So that way I can basically process orders in groups, and it just really helps for organizational purposes for me. I just feel like I'm way more productive when I do it this way. So we trimmed all the wicks, we zoomed all the tops, waiting for those to set, and we'll finish them, wipe them down, lid them, and while they're setting, I'm going to be working on all of the labels. So a lot of you know I have tons and tons of different kinds of candles. I have all shapes and sizes of vessels, I have different themes, and really it's not too much for me, and I love being able to offer so many different options. And I have all of my labels organized in files on my computer, so it makes it relatively simple to find them and get them on sheets and get them printed. I know a lot of candle makers that purchase their candle labels, which is a great idea if you're bulk making all of one scent or you're not doing custom labeling, but where I do custom labels, that just doesn't work. I need to be able to print them here in the studio and design them, and it's worked really well for me. I'm currently transitioning into a different label. I've always used a white gloss label because I think they looked really, really nice, and I'm still going to use those on my favors because the colors really pop. But I'm in the process of transitioning into white matte labels, so essentially they're the same label, but instead of gloss, they're matte. And I just really like the understated, non-glossy look. I think they look more luxurious. And these particular labels are a lot easier to remove. So that way, if you're repurposing your jars or you're wanting to refill your jars and put a different label on them or whatever, it's a lot more user-friendly. You don't have to put them in the sink and soak them and scrub them off and then use Goo Gone to get the adhesive off the jar. So I'm super excited about that, and they are going to be waterproof. So if you accidentally have a spill with water or the wax goes over the edge, There's no smudging. You don't have to worry about not looking their very best. So super excited about that. Nobody's ever complained or anything. I just like to continuously evolve in my business, and I always want to offer the very best product that I can. As a small business owner on a daily basis, I'm just always trying to improve, which I think we all are. So yeah, we're gonna give the matte white labels that are waterproof a go and see how they work. The other kind of label that I use a lot of, that's my original OG, and I feel like I'm dating myself, is craft labels. I love a rustic label. I love a rustic candle, and I'm sure it's because I'm a ranch girl, a rodeo girl. I like things that are rustic. I love the clean white minimalist look. As you guys have seen my home and some of my other videos, the thing is white, and I'm all about white and woods. But what really makes me happy is a vintage craft label. My business was basically built on craft labels. That's what the majority of my labels were when I started, and I've slowly been transitioning into white and some colored labels. I think I'm gonna go a long time before I ever completely do away with craft labels, but I am trying to wrangle those in. Have a lot of white options as well, because I know you guys like those in your home because they're neutral. But I mean, look at all these. Are they not just beautiful? You see them. They're so beautiful. Like, it's just such a vibe. Like, it's so pretty on the amber jar. I'm just into the vintage look, and I think they're great. So what do you guys think? Do you guys like craft labels, or do you like white labels? What's your vibe? I would love to know. So this is a pretty mundane process. I'm going to time lapse this just because it's a lot of copying and pasting onto my label sheets. And actually, I'm gonna take you guys, I've got some sheets right here. This is what my label sheets look like. Similar to this, I have all kinds of sizes. When I'm in the designing process, I try to choose a label size that will fit on multiple candles. I had the exact size for every single candle. I think that I would go completely insane and be so disorganized, it'd be terrible. So I try to basically double dip, and what's gonna fit on a 9 ounce is gonna fit on an 8 ounce, and sometimes they might fit on a 16 ounce too. So basically I start with a blank sheet of labels, and I have a template that I use in Microsoft Word. All of the designs that I create in Photoshop, I basically just copy and paste them to the template and then print them on my Canon printer. It is pretty simple, but on the same breath, the sizing on these is a super big deal. That's probably the hardest part in the design portion of my business, is getting them to the relative size so they look good on the candles. And so basically that's just trial and error. I'll try multiple sizes and see what looks best and then run with that. So let's go print some labels. You know that moment when you have 40 candles that need to be delivered today and you're pretty sure you had enough lids, and you open the drawer and you only had 5? Yeah, that's when you have a heart attack. Thankfully, I had a stash somewhere, but I need to order some more lids. The amount of adrenaline that I just wasted having a heart attack over not having enough lids is absolutely unfathomable. I'm probably gonna be unwell for the rest of the day. And I even had extra left over. Grace period for me while I get more lids ordered. Okay, I was telling you guys earlier about this wholesale order, and this is all part of the wholesale order. So this is going to be my 8 ounce amber jar for my heritage collection, and we'll get those labeled soon. And these are my 8 ounce mason jars, antique mason jars that I was telling you about, that are so cute as a rustic vibe. So this is the 9 ounce option, and this is the 5 ounce option. Both super duper popular. This has been popular for years because it's such a great tester before committing to a bigger size. But I was so excited When Melody told me that she wanted to swap over to the antique mason jars because I had a surplus of these, I don't know if it's just my farmhouse roots screaming to me, but I just think these are so beautiful and so unique. And so then the label goes on the top so that way you can see the pretty mason on the side. We're gonna get these lidded. She chose gold lids. I do have the options of white, black, silver, and gold. And the gold just looks so super nice. Look at that. Look how pretty that is. And then the craft label on top. It's perfect. So let's get these lidded. While we are getting these lidded, I want to talk about some of the scents that Melody chose, because I offer all of my fragrances to my wholesale vendors, so they can order them in virtually any of the scents that they want and pair them with any of the vessels that I have. So I need to start off and say, Melody asked me from the get-go, what are your top selling scents? So all of these fragrances that I'm going to be talking about are bestsellers, have been bestsellers for years and years and years, and they are performing well for her as well. So these two are Grandma's Kitchen. And it's like a warm pastry that just come out of the oven with cinnamon swirling around and swirls of butter and sugar and some nutmeg and spice. This just warms your heart. It is amazing, beyond amazing. If you're into bakery scents or cozy scents, I definitely recommend Grandma's Kitchen. These four are Amber Woodlands. I talked about that fragrance in my last video. It's a beautiful woodsy scent that's not over masculine. It's got amber in it and it's got a lot of depth. It's phenomenal. These are watermelon lemonade. How perfect for summer. This is the most refreshing summer scent I think that I have, without being super fruity or super sweet. Get the lemon in the lemonade that shines through, and the watermelon is on top, and it literally is making my mouth water just talking about it. These are Vanilla Leather. This is one of my shop's signature scents. I created this scent because of my rustic background, and the vanilla softens the leather so much. So it's like a feminine masculine, if that makes sense. And it's also a super cozy, super warming scent. It's relaxing. You can smell it all day. It's not super strong. It's not really strong. It's not in your face, but it's there to give you a warm hug. And last but not least is Home Sweet Home, another bestseller in my studio and has been for years and years and years. Another comfort scent. It's full of vanilla and sweet amber and cotton tree, so it has a little bit of a refreshing undertone, but still super warming, super cozy. Something that you want burning in your home after you get there from a long day at work. It is super duper amazing. So that's kind of a lineup of what she's reordered. She's reordered from me probably 4 or 5 times since around Christmas time, and I'm just so incredibly thankful. Melody, if you end up watching this video, I hope you know how much I appreciate you guys' business. I'm just so excited these are selling so well for you guys. I was telling you guys about the custom labeling that I have created for everything Texas Mercantile. And this is the label that I was talking about. See the vintage font? How well that pairs with this craft label. It's absolutely gorgeous. And let me show you what it looks like. Is this not a total vibe? They're so gorgeous. Such a beautiful, classy, rustic. And I just love them so much. So I'm gonna get the rest of these labeled. Oh, so beautiful. What do they use these here? So funny story, I used to just put a normal warning label on the bottom, and as you guys will see now, I have the scent names on them. So years and years ago, back during COVID, when we were just so beyond slammed with orders, we were having trouble figuring out which scent was which after we were pouring them, because we're a pour to order company. And I can identify the majority of the scents just by sniffing them. But by the time the day was over, I had smelled so many scents, I started to get them confused, and I'm like, what are we gonna do? And the sweet girl, Sydney, was working for me at the time, and she said, why don't we just put it on the warning label? And I'm like, genius, why did I not think of that? So the majority of the warning labels have the scent handwritten on them, but when I pour in bulk, like for wholesale orders, I do just print them off with the name on them on my thermal printer. This also covers me for any kind of labeling requirements that you need to have for your candles. You need to have your shop name, your address, the scent name, and the scent weight. And it's supposed to be in ounces and grams. And so where I do so much custom labeling, like the labels that I have a custom label on them, and there's not a place to put the weight or the size, or I think that it's gonna affect the way that the label looks, I know that my warning labels have me covered. That way I'm staying in the guidelines for all the governmental label regulations. So that's just a fun quick tip if you're struggling to figure out how you're gonna get all of the criteria on the label that you need and it's gonna affect the way it looks. Just put it on your warning label on the bottom. And you can very easily create those in Canva or Photoshop. I told you guys before, I use Photoshop for literally everything because I'm a prehistoric dinosaur. But you can make them in Canva and print them off on your thermal printer, and it literally costs you little to nothing, and it's super easy. Okay, before we get these boxed up, we're gonna do one last quality check just to make sure none of the lids are dented, that there's not, that the labels don't need to be smoothed out, just all of the little minor details before we put these in the boxes, because as I said before, we're going to hand deliver this order because it's here in town, and then we're going to box up the rest of the orders that we have out here on the table. I just like to double, triple, quadruple check myself. I've told you guys before, I'm super dyslexic, and to avoid making errors when sending orders, I have to double, triple, quadruple check myself. So what I do is I will take the invoice and just mark off, make sure that I have the right amount, that they're the correct labels, the correct scents, double check the labels are actually on the correct candle. So here's a perfect example. You guys probably can't see it without it reflecting, but in transit, some of the lids do get damaged when they're sent to me, and I try super hard to do quality checks when I get deliveries, but sometimes if the sun is not reflecting on them, they're really hard to see. So like this lid has been compromised, and on the lids like this, there's some situations that I can put labels over the top of them so I can keep them. This just has to be trashed, and I will just report these to my manufacturer and they can either credit me or send new ones. So I really wish the supply companies could figure out a way to ship the lids where they don't get dented, because this is a really common issue, I guess is the right thing to say. And it's because they send them in bags and boxes, and I guess there's really no way to send them where they're not getting jostled around. But I feel like this is just a super common issue. It does add up over the period of time on how many are damaged. We will get a new lid for this one, and that was really good. This is the only one that's been damaged. So one other thing that I like to do for my wholesale customers is I like to provide gift boxes that they can potentially package up my candles in when they sell them. And they don't have to pay extra. This is just something that's complimentary for my shop. And as you see in a lot of my videos, I like to put all of my candles in craft gift boxes and then put my custom sticker on it. So I just like to provide these to my wholesale customers. They're more than welcome to use them. They don't have to use them, but I just think it's a nice gesture. And most boutiques are trying to have a cute aesthetic. Of course, I want somebody to buy my candles and have that unboxing experience, even if it's not directly from my shop. So I'm gonna make more box labels. I've been needing to do this for my own orders. Now that I need several of them for this wholesale order, we need to get those done. So we're gonna do those, and then we're gonna go ahead and box some orders. Have label. My candle box labels, I have made these just little custom sealers with cute little sayings. I have 3 different ones. Hello, I was handmade just for you is one of them. I did 100 of each. You have really, really good taste is another. And the third one is remember to stop and smell the candles. Put these on the outsides of my candle boxes so that way customers get the full Gift Gala shop experience. I want my customers to feel something when they get my products. I want them to know that this is not a mass-produced item. It was handmade, and that I truly do care about the customer and how they perceive my items and the experience that they have on past, even the unboxing experience. So for the wholesale orders, what I do is I just put them, oh, these are upside down. I just put them right here in the middle of the front of the box, and I'll give them all 3 of my labels. So that way they can change it up, and it's kind of like a fun little surprise. The customer never does know what their box is gonna say. Okay, that is a wrap on that wholesale order. We're gonna get that delivered later on this afternoon. I'm gonna take you guys with me on that adventure. We have a bunch of retail candles I need to get boxed up and shipped out since today is Friday. So we're gonna do that before we go deliver this wholesale order. It is 11 o'clock. I hope I can get all of these packed in an hour because I have a lunch date with my husband and my son. So let's see how fast we can get these done. We are dropping candles off. Look how cute. Everything Texas Mercantile is. I don't know if you can see over my shoulder. Look, Gift Gala candles. Look at all these things. I'm gonna give you guys a quick tour of all the goodies they have in here, and if you're in Stephenville, come check them out. Happy Monday, you guys! How are you all doing? I hope you're doing great. I hope you have the best Monday ever. I hope you hit all green lights. I hope your coffee is absolutely fantabulous. And I just hope you have the best day ever. So this weekend was a very much needed reset for me. I've just been gone, it seemed like every weekend for the last 2 months, and it was just so nice to be home. We got our above ground pool up, and we got our little kiddie pool for Denim, and he got to play in the water, and we had some friends over, we had a fish fry, and I spent a good majority of this weekend sketching some beautiful, beautiful graphics and designs for the Gift Gala Shop's very first stationery collection. I'm so excited about this. I know I've been talking about it in like every video, and I just haven't had time to really sit down and start working on the design part, and I'm actually getting to do that now. And I'm just so excited because everything's coming together, and I actually got the entire project finished for this collection's sticky notes, and they're so cute. It's killing me not being able to show you guys right now, which I think I might have to show you a few little clips because they're just so beautiful. And the whole point of these stationery collections I'm going to be releasing is to inspire you. So no matter where you're at, whether you're at home or at your desk, when you look down to jot down a note on your sticky note, or to write down a grocery list, or to write down your candle inventory list, you look at your paper, you're instantly filled with joy and happiness. So this collection's theme is a berry happy summer, and the designs are filled with flowers and strawberries and happy colors and just things that give you all the vibes. I'm not really sure what all items are going to be in this collection. I was thinking about doing 2 separate collections like I talked about, the navy blue and lemons and then the strawberries, but I'm not really sure how much time that I'm going to have, because sketching on Procreate is one thing, but actually fleshing out these designs and the colors that I want and the textures that I want is a little bit more work, and it's a learning curve for me because I haven't used that part of Procreate as much. I've used a lot of their watercolor brushes, but these particular designs aren't going to just be watercolor. They're going to be vibrant, and they're going to have, like I said, a ton of texture. So I might be doing this collection in like 2 parts. Like I might have sticky notes, the 4x8 notepad and bookmarks in this first part, and then have like the full-blown journal, the daily schedule notepad, all of that later in the summer. I'm not really sure. I'll just see. Like I said, I got to spend a good majority of this weekend experimenting with different brushes and experimenting with the designs. And once I solidify the brushes that I want to use, I think that I can churn these out pretty quick, because it's not the sketching part that is the problem. It's just getting the actual look that I want perfected. So we'll see how that's going. I don't even have a definitive launch date for these. I'm hoping sometime in June. I was hoping the first part of June, but we're already there. It is June 2nd, and I wanted to have this collection done and ready to launch by the 7th, but that's just not gonna work because I didn't have the time to allot to it. So that's all right. We'll just release it later in June, and that will be fine. So surprise, surprise, we have a lot of candles to pour today. We have baby shower favors, bridal shower favors, and then some really cute gift box candles. And I'm gonna kind of show you more of the candle pouring process today, in terms of how I mix my wax and my fragrance together, how I pour them, that type of thing. So you guys are gonna get to come behind the scenes with me again and kind of just step into my shoes as a day in the life of Shelby the Candle Lady. I guess I better get these 2 AC units going because I'm already starting to sweat. It's been hot here in Texas, and not even temperature hot. I mean, it's been like 95, which I guess is hot, but we're used to it being over 100 degrees, but it's been a humid 95. I mean, like, I feel like I'm in Florida or Alabama. And if you are from there, bless you. I don't even know how you guys go outside without having an oxygen tank. So anyway, we're gonna get these AC units turned on, and we're gonna get to pouring some candles. Okay, you guys, before we say goodbye for this week, I want to have one more little coffee chat, mainly because I had a really good talk with a friend this weekend. She's a salon owner here in town, and she's running a killer business. We were just talking about the difference between an online business and a storefront, and this is a question that gets brought up to me all the time through Instagram and people that I know, and it is, what made you decide to sell exclusively online, and why do you not have a storefront? It's something that's just a personal choice for me, and I need to start out by saying I, by all means, think if you have the dream to have a storefront, you should 100% go for it. But I'm going to tell you a little story about my business and why I chose to sell exclusively online. So keep in mind, I started my very first business when I was 18 years old. Okay, I was a freshman in college. I already knew I wanted to be a marketing major. So I was in the middle of my very first marketing class. And at the time, I was rodeoing professionally. And my mom and I were basically living on the road in our horse trailer. Like I've said in previous videos, I had scholarships and my mom was helping me with college, but of course I was old enough that I wanted to pitch in too, and that made me start my first business. And I won't go into the long detail about how it started. If you want to hear my entire story, scroll down to my very first long form video I posted on YouTube, and it is literally the entire story of how I started my very first business with $100. So anyways, I needed a way to make income where I could still be on the road and where I could still rodeo. And eBay was kind of tapering off at this time, and Etsy had just really started to become a thing. And in terms of becoming a thing, it wasn't like it is now. It was this new platform you could buy these cute, handmade, personalized gifts from, and that was where I got my start. I was making these headbands that turned into wedding garters that turned into a full-blown wedding boutique. But the online sales channel is what allowed me to be gone and still have my business basically on the road. I was making these wedding items in my horse trailer, which, if you're not familiar with horse trailers, they're literally like a house on wheels. Like our living quarters is probably nicer than my house. So it's not like I was making them in the back of my horse trailer, okay? Very sterile, clean, nice area to be making these items in. But anyways, I was able to take my supplies with me and make these things and then drop them off at post office along the way of where I was at. So if I was in Oklahoma or Arizona or Wyoming, I could just drop them in the mail and ship them. I got a taste of what type of freedom I could have with an online business. As my business grew, the bridal boutique took off, and I was just doing accessories. So basically I would ask somebody to measure their thigh where they wanted to wear their garter, and then I would make it accordingly. And same for the wedding sashes and the flower girl baskets and the ring bearer pillows, all of those things. And I never really wanted to get into like the wedding dresses, the flower girl dresses, none of that. So I didn't really have any type of stimulation to want to have a storefront. And on top of having items that didn't really merit needing a storefront, I personally didn't want to deal with the customer service part of being face-to-face in a storefront because I was young and I had no idea what I would be doing, you know? And I'm a little introverted anyway, and so that just made me really nervous. So I just kind of continued on this online sales journey, and all the while I'm going down my business journey, I'm still in college and I'm still taking these marketing classes, I'm still taking these business classes, and I start to realize the overhead that you have with a storefront. And when I say overhead, that means basically your cost that you are going to incur just to have that storefront open. So you're going to have a lease, or if you decide to buy the property, you're going to have, you know, a mortgage, a monthly payment. Most of the time, you are not going to want to be in your storefront 24/7, and you're going to need some help. For example, if I was selling candles in a storefront, I would have to have all of my candle making stuff there. I'd be making candles, and then if customers came in, I'd be trying to help them. And so I would have needed to hire help, and that's its very own little rabbit hole, because if you hire somebody or multiple somebodies, and let's say your week is slow, you can't just send them home and say, I don't have any work for you this week, come back next week. That's not how it works. The overhead in a storefront is not only expensive, but it's stressful, and it's weight that you have to carry on your shoulders because you have to pay the power bill. Just because you had a bad month, you can't not pay your power bill. You can't not pay your lease. You can't not pay your employees. And so having your own storefront is its own business in itself. It's its own special beast. And don't get me wrong, selling online is. And that was what was so funny this weekend when I was talking with my friend, is she has been brick and mortar from the get-go. She started doing eyelashes in college in her house, and it's turned into a partnership with her best friend / business partner, and they do all kinds of things, and it's grown, but they've done it the brick and mortar way. And she looks at me and is like, I don't know how you have exclusive online business. She said, I don't understand Etsy. I don't understand, you know, any of the online platforms and stuff, which she does. They have great social media, and she does have a website and stuff. I feel like she's being modest. But it's just funny how when you get your your start, that's just what you feel comfortable with. So the point of this little chat is if you are a small business or a candle maker or whatever it is, and you're doing handmade items, obviously you're not a service-based business, which these days you can do a lot of service-based businesses via Instagram or YouTube or whatever platform it may be. If you're just starting out and your dream is to have a storefront, that's 100% great. I still recommend starting online first because it allows you to basically build this foundation with very minimal startup costs. You're not gonna have to go pay a lease every month. You're not gonna have to have that commitment. You're not gonna have to have the commitment of the insurance and your utilities and all of that. So that's why I recommend starting online, and then you can always branch out, and if you would like to have a storefront, you can. Or like for me, I'm 8 years into my candle business. I'm 14 years into my bridal business. I still do not have a storefront for either business, nor do I want one. And the way I'm getting my items out into the world or in storefronts is by wholesaling or doing commission-based setups. So like I said before, I've never done a market, though I do want to do at least one, just so I have the experience and say that I did it. But I do wholesale a lot, and I do have my candles in boutiques and stores all over the United States without having my very own storefront with all of that overhead. So from one small business owner to another, there is 45 different ways that you can approach a small business, and it really is just what your dreams and aspirations are. I love the idea of having a storefront for my candle studio, mainly because we have this super cute square here in town, and I could just see people walking in and getting to smell all the scent blends and being able to have candle parties and candle making classes and all of that type of thing. And maybe someday I will. I'm just not at a season in my life right now where that's really feasible because I still train horses. I'm still actively competing. I have my son. I have multiple businesses, and I really don't have that extra time, nor do I want to allot the extra time to having a storefront and all the things that go into making it thrive. You know, because if you have a storefront, it also turns into a social and political type deal as well, where you may be involved with the chamber, you'll be involved with volunteer work, you'll be involved with charities. You know, there's all these things that if it were me, if I were going to start a storefront, those are the things that I would be doing. And I know that I am just not physically capable of doing that right now. I just wanted to have that little chat because I know so many small business girlies and guys, really. And we talk about this all the time about the difference between a storefront, the difference between an online business, what kind of platform you're selling on. Do you do markets, commission, all these different things? And it's really just what you feel comfortable with and what your dreams are. So if your dream is to have a storefront, start online, build your business up, go to markets, do all of those things first to build your foundation, and then go for that storefront. And if storefronts are not your vibe, kind of like they haven't really been a vibe for me, that's okay too. You can make a killing strictly selling online. I have been doing it for a long time, and I can vouch and say that you can too. One more thing is, I told you that I've been working on this stationery, and I told you guys that I might show you a sneak peek. So at the very, very end of this video, I am going to show you a sneak peek of the bookmark I just finished and the sticky notes that I finished. And I'd love for you guys to give me feedback. Remember, the stationery collection is going to be partly for readers, partly for small business girlies. I'm kind of merging the two together, mainly because I love to read and I obviously love having a small business. So there will be items for readers, there's going to be items for the small business owners. And the one thing they have in common is that they are all really, really cute. And hopefully there's something when you look at, they just bring you so much joy and happiness and inspiration. So I will see you guys next week. Thank you so, so much for being here and watching and just hanging out with me for the week. I appreciate you guys so much. I give you guys the biggest hug. Thank you all for your support, and I will see you guys next week.